ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाञ्चार्य निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे जय श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा. There are different types of taste that people have. There is taste in goodness, taste in ignorance. People in mode of goodness taste, they like this dharma and all these things. That is, they are actually people who are whose taste is in goodness, and who likes Bhagavatam, their taste is transcendental. So based on the taste, people get inclined to certain things. That is the first thing we should understand. And another thing, what happens when people come to Krishna consciousness, because even though the pure devotional service are very nicely emphasized, but there is also another thing, because it's an organization, there is a pressure for performance. That makes people go to other books to perform nicely. Means, say I have to give a class. That means I have to perform. Perform means I have to, now I read Bhagavatam, but everybody knows the story. Now, Vidura, Maitreya, Samvad, and every time I cannot give the same stories because everybody knows. I cannot tell the same point because all of them knows. Now I have to perform, so I need more. Then what I do? I go for other literatures where I try to get some jokes, some examples, some stories, some point, and some other lectures from other sampradaya here there, so that it makes me perform nicely or produce results in terms of I get more boys or anything. Basically, institution means there is always a pressure to perform, and this causes the problem. This will make people, then they, instead of reading more deeper acharyas and other commentaries, they go for outside. Once they go out, instead of reading acharyas commentaries, which are, it looks like they are telling the same thing and it's not. And initially, that was not so much translated also. No, Banu Maharaj, fortunately, he brought everything into English. But before, this was not available. What happened? Many of them, they started reading because they want to get more. And then that ended up in all this so much requirement: psychology, Ayurveda, astrology, yoga, dharma. All these things are because of not because some one is taste is there, they are already interested in something in mode of goodness, so they like to do these activities. Means they will be like, say, now if you give me some library, you send me to a library, what books I will read is based on my taste. Immediately I may go for some astrology or astronomy, that type of books I will go, because that is my taste. Some people will go for Mahabharata, some people go for Puranas, some people may read some fiction. So, based on my taste, even though there is a big library, I read it. Here also, when people come to ISKCON, why people, after very seriously practicing and very nice, and they have inspired many people, and now they talk about Dharma, because they started. And another thing is, they wanted to see live examples. That is also another problem. And when they see that there are people, because I have a taste, I have appreciation for people who sacrifice. This is basically mode of goodness. So if you appreciate people who are sacrificing on a material level, it is very important to note this point also. People that are sacrificing on material level, that also very much attracts. He is doing so much for the country. He's doing so much for the old people, he's doing so much for all this. That is also, that appreciation also will make us feel, "Arey, this devotee, he just sits and is reading Bhagavatam. He is not doing anything for society. And this person, day and night, he sacrificed for the society so much. Just completely selfless. He just gives. Like Sindhu Tai Sapkal, no? How much she did for children and old people, and she just went to United Nations also. Now it looks, what this devotee is doing? He's just sitting and chanting, and he's taking care of his family, and remaining time he's just chanting, and hardly is able to complete his sadhana. Now the point is what? But for us, this devotee who is a grihastha with two children and managing to get up early morning, completing his 12 rounds and 4 rounds in the evening, and somehow he manages to read 1 hour Bhagavatam, and is much more important, much more greater. That understanding we should have, because he is working to get out of this material world. It is very important. Even though other person, like if a prime minister of India or a devotee who is chanting 16 rounds and just got initiated, for us important now this person only. And the prime minister of India is very powerful person. It is not devotee. He is not trying to get out of this material world. He is trying to make things better in this material world. But this devotee is at least having pure devotional faith is much more important. His association will make us, like, now people get an option to associate. They will say, "Oh, I just want to meet and discuss with Prime Minister or some big person like this." No, no, no. We may discuss with him. We will try to understand what his experience and all. But that is not very important for us. What is important is this person who is struggling grahastha is much more important. Struggling brahmachari, they are very important because they have pure devotional faith. That means they want to get out of this world, and none of these people who are trying to make this world better, none of them they don't have pure devotional faith, and they don't want to get out of this world also. They just want to continue to enjoy in this world or make things better. They may not. They are enjoying in a more sattvic level. That is enjoyment in mode of goodness, but that is not transcendental. And why this is another reason devotees get attracted to these people. They are sacrificing. How much they did, how much nationalism, how much they freedom fighters, how much they, they went through such torment situations and did. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur time, all these freedom fighters were there. He did not even pay any attention to them. No bhav is given to them. It's just that. And Prabhupada was also freedom fighter, and he was affected. He said, "Oh, Gandhi," and Bhaktisiddhanta said, "It's bogus. Forget about it. Real freedom is control of senses. Real freedom is real freedom is when you are able to control your senses. Then only you will have real freedom. All this freedom, all this nationalism, all this is all bogus." And of course, I be politically right. We should not speak all these things, but the devotees we should tell them that it does not work. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was, that is the first thing he removed from Prabhupada, because naturally there is inclination for people who are sacrificing. Naturally, there is inclination people who live in goodness go in that direction. Siddhanta Thakur just, that is the first lesson Prabhupada's life we can learn, that his meeting with Guru, he had 1 hour, I think, discussion with him. And after that, Prabhupada said, he was very happy that he is defeated by Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And that's what we need to understand. That we don't need all these things. If we perform, if we are institution, we will always get this trouble. We should be very careful that we don't get distracted with these things. We need not read outside things to explain to devotees. We can just read from acharyas and try to understand them and be very focused. We can read, but only after when we become very, very clear with proper philosophical understanding. Then only we can read. Otherwise, there is always a chance that we get distracted and deviated. And we are not Maya so powerful because the Sattva is so much. The taste is already there for us. We have some Sattva taste, and when we read some literatures like this Dharma and all, immediately it touches the heart, and we want to live in a very dharmic way, and we feel very inspired by such things. So we should be very careful. And this actually is a section is also same thing when Vidura is saying Pravaresham Bhagavan Ratani Sutani Me Vyasa Mukha Dabhikshasham. Kulla Sukhavaharam Tesham Rite Krishna Kuta Madhaugat. He says that I have repeatedly heard about this higher and lower status of human society from Mayuta Vyasdev, and I've enough of all these lesser subject matters and their happiness. Our happiness is there, but it is lesser, and they have not satisfied me with the next. So these are all dharma, artha, kama. They're actually very interesting, and Prabhupada is right also, because people are very much interested in hearing social and historical presentation. Vyasdev has compiled many books such as Puranas and Mahabharata. These books are reading matter for mass of people, and they are compiled with a view of reviving their God consciousness. See, there is actually uh, some help for them in this regard. So this literature which people read or associate, that actually makes them go in the direction very strongly. It's very risky. Now, the real purpose of such literature is not so much to present topics of historical reference, but to revive people's sense of God consciousness. For example, Mahabharata is the history of the Battle of Kurukshetra, and common people read it because it is full of topics regarding the social, political, and economic problems of human society. But actually, the most important part of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita, which is automatically taught to readers along with historical narrations of the Battle of Kurukshetra. Why so much vast varieties of topics are covered? Make people hook. Even if you take Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is telling so many things except apart from pure devotional service. He's telling karma, he's telling jnana, he's telling yoga, he's also telling about uh, many other aspects. Like he's talking about how to be regulated, how to eat and sleep, how to talk, and some modes of nature. So many things also Krishna is teaching. Why Krishna is why so many topics are covered? Who can be person? Because the consciousness is hooked in many ways outside, which are over passion and ignorance, to hold them. So if all these Puranas is to hold people, so many such full of topics regarding social, political, economic, but mostly is to make them hook to that literature, and slowly will come to Bhagavad Gita also. And Vidura explained to Maitreya his position of being fully satisfied with knowledge of sorry, uh, his position of being fully satiated with the knowledge of mundane, social, and political topics, and have no more interest in them. So now what happens is, now a person reached mode of goodness, then after some time he will feel bored. He said, Array, nothing is there in this. I need something more. That is the purpose of Vyasdev, to bring people to that level. Somehow people get stuck. Nardamani said, Array, you directly tell Krishna, why you are telling all this in there? Because there is insufficient topics directly concerning Krishna in the Puranas, Mahabharata, etc. Is not satisfied and wanted to know more about Krishna. Krishna Katha topics regarding Krishna are transcendental, and there is no saturation in hearing such topics. The Bhagavad Gita is important on account of its being Krishna Katha, or speeches delivered by Krishna. Story of Battle of Kurukshetra may be interesting for the mass of people, but to a person like Vidra, who is highly advanced in devotional service, only Krishna Katha, which is dovetailed with Krishna Katha, is interesting. Vidra wanted to hear from Maitreya concerning everything Vidra had asked about, but Vidra desired that all the topics be in relation with Krishna. So, as the fire is never satiated in its consumption of firewood, so a pure devotee of Lord never hears enough about Krishna, historical events, and other narrations concerning social and political. Now, people want to listen and read. Na? So much literature our acharyas have given. So many books are there. Why to go for something which is not directly pure devotional service? If books are not there, okay, I have completed only three books are there, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita, and after that no books. Then there is, but you have hundreds of books, and so much is there, and so much new aspects that are covered. Brihad Bhagavatam, Laghu Bhagavatam, Manas, so many books, and Unfortunately, Banu Maharaj made everything into English. And we are soft copies are also available. If you don't have money to purchase, everything is available free as soft copies also. PDFs are there in ISKCON Desiratory. That means it's not that there is no, but it's not taste is not there because that is if you read there is no performance there because you will not get new substance. It's all same. Not same in the sense it is all pure devotional service, but within that so much depth is there. So Prabhupada is giving very nice point here. He says there are two important Krishna Gathas current in the world, the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Gatha because spoken by Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna Gatha because it narrates about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advised all his disciples to preach Krishna Gatha all over the world without discrimination because the transcendental value of Krishna Katha can purify one and all from material contamination. Yatirtapado सृष्टेषु वा सूरिभिरीड्यमानात् यः कर्णनाडिं पुरुषस्य यातो भव पदां गेहरतिं चिरन्ति. Who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talks of the Lord, whose lotus feet are sum total of place of pilgrimage and who is worshipped by great sages and devotees? Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears. Krishna is so powerful that simply by entering into a person's ears, it at once gives deliverance from the bondage of family affection. Anybody want it? This is the way. So difficult actually. Family affection is an illusory manifestation of external energy and so difficult to come out of it. Prabhupada just gave it up. That means he was always prepared. He was always having a higher purpose. His wife, children, and daughters, sons, everybody he could give up. It is because he understood. Yes, it's not affected by external illusions. And Prabhupada says it is only impetus for all mundane activities. Finish. As long as there is mundane activity, the mind is absorbed in such engagement. Man has to undergo the repetition of birth and death in the current material news. So, see, nice point proposed. First is Krishna Katha, what it will do, it will help us to free from family bondage, with family affection, which is so very difficult. What happens is we so strongly identified, it becomes difficult for us to even consider only. Some people don't even consider that they have to give a family attachment. That much level of ignorance is there. They think this is what is life. They don't even consider that maybe one day I have to give up all these things. And Prabhupada saying family affection is an illusory manifestation of external energy. This is how the Maya holds a living entity. Our original family is with Krishna, but we are holding on to some other illusory family and want to make it permanent. We want to have all our relationship permanent. But there is that it does not work only. The children grows, then they go outside the house. They cannot stay with the parents. Many of the cases, most of the cases. And but they want to have permanent. They want to have permanent relation. They want to have permanent house. And then grandchildren comes. At least if children stay, but grandchildren don't stay. And everybody goes. It's not possible to hold. And they feel that, oh, greatest happiness is all my family must come together and we'll stay. And Prabhupada is telling family affection is an illusory manifestation of external energy. And it is only impetus for all mundane activities. And as long as mundane activity and the mind is absorbed in such engagement, one has to undergo repetition of birth and death in the current material existence. At least consider that we have to give it up. Then slowly, if you get, then what happens? The desire will come to get out of it. And Krishna will make sure it will happen. Krishna will definitely fulfill such desires. Only thing we should ask. People don't dare to ask only. So make me free from all this material bondage. How many people dare to ask? Nobody asks. Even devotees also they don't dare many times. They say, I will chant, let me chant nicely, let me do this nicely. What about family affection? That's okay. People are most influenced by mode of ignorance, and some are influenced by passionate mode of material nature. Under the spell of these two modes of living is uh, equated by the material conception of life. The mundane qualities do not allow a living entity to understand its real position. Qualities of both ignorance and passion strongly binds one to the illusory bodily conception of the self. So this is actually this passion and ignorance is the taste that is actually holding all the people. That is so strong and Prabhupada so clearly telling the best among the fools for thus deluded are those who engage in the altruistic activities under the spell of material mode of passion. You see, even within the people who are the best, who are engaged in altruistic activities, but it is passion only. That means who are doing sacrifice, who are doing some social welfare activities out of compassion for the suffering people. Prabhupada is telling it is also under the spell of material mode of passion and deluded only. They are also. It is not something very high. It looks very high and we appreciate it on a material level, but not on a spiritual level. We should be very clear about it. The somebody sitting and reading Bhagavad Gita and somebody going and doing charity. For us, who is sitting and reading Bhagavad Gita is very important. Why? It's trying to get out of this world. Understand? It's trying to get out of this world. And the person who is doing charity is making this world better. This is not going to happen anyway. And the person who is suffering according to his karma. That's all. And not that we should not help, we can help. But we should help how? Prabhupada gives answer. We help by giving knowledge. Because people are suffering not because lack of food, Prabhupada says, not because of there is no freedom, because the government is not good. That's why people are suffering. Bhaktivedanta says, no. People are suffering because they are not able to control their senses. People are suffering because there is no Krishna consciousness, because the heart is. Prabhupada did not preach to some poor people and do some food distribution in India. Prabhupada went to America and there the most richest people, richest country of the time. Prabhupada is teaching to the richest people of the world. Why? Because the reason for people suffering is not that they lack food. Americans that time, why they were becoming hippies? Prabhupada saying they have big buildings, big cars, so much money. Why they are becoming hippies? Because they are unhappy. Unhappiness is because they lack Krishna consciousness. This is actually the truth. We, by reading Bhagavad Gita ourselves, we are helping ourselves coming out of this ignorance. We can help others also come out of the ignorance. That is the real cause of their unhappiness. So Bhagavad Gita, which is direct Krishna Gita, gives humanity the elementary lessons that the body is perishable, that the consciousness which is spread throughout the body is imperishable. The conscious being, the imperishable self, is eternally existence and cannot be killed under any circumstances, even after the dissolution of body. Anyone who misunderstands this perishable body to the self, who works for it in the name of sociology, politics, philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, internationalism, under the false fear of bodily conception of life, is certainly a fool and does not know the implications of reality and unreality. See, Prabhupada is telling they are fools only. All these people, altruism, they're doing so much. Nationalism, they are sacrificing. They're going to army and no fighting against the enemies to protect the country. Prabhupada is telling is certainly a foolish and does not know. Some people are above the mode of ignorance and passion, are situated in mode of goodness. But mundane goodness is always contaminated by tinge of ignorance and passion. Mundane goodness can enlighten one. The body and the self are different, and one in goodness is concerned with the self and not the body. But those in mundane goodness, due to being contaminated, cannot understand the real nature of self of a person. See, even goodness also a problem. All this dharma and all is actually passion. It's not even goodness according to Prabhupada. His impersonal conception of the self as distinct from the body keeps them in mode of goodness in the metal nature, and unless they are affected by Krishna Katha, they will never be liberated from the bondage of metal nature. Krishna Katha is the only remedy for all people of the world because it can situate one in pure consciousness of the self and liberate one from the metal bondage. To play Krishna Katha all over the world, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, is the greatest missionary activity. See, this is the only activity, and all sensible men and women the world may join this in this great movement and uh, started by Lord Chaitanya. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhuji, like hearing the first on our discussion, now your discussions, Prabhuji, like there is so much of hype for mode of goodness now here. Even now, you're explaining that only, Prabhuji. Like people who are fed up of this passion, ignorance, somehow they get attracted by mode of goodness, even here by charity or helping others. But as you explained the other day, Prabhuji, what is the difference between a Varnashrama and a Bhakti Yoga? Both are satisfying Vishnu only. But here they satisfy with the designations of this body, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, but there totally on base of soul, no, Prabhuji, like Jivera Swarupe, Krishna Ritya Dasa. In that mood we are serving. So as Prabhupada says, some people, when we preach, no, Prabhuji, they ask us this question only: what you people are doing? Like others, they're helping, giving charity, but what you people are doing, you're just chanting or you're just reading Bhagavad Gita. But what Prabhupada has explained this, no, Prabhuji, like he always tells a story that two thieves, after stealing things, when they started dividing among themselves, one started sharing 60%, another 40%. He said, no, 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 be be true to this. Like both of us should divide equally. Anyways, they have stolen money of others, but still they want to divide it equally. So even mode of goodness, if you're trying to enjoy here, it is also a thief. I mean, we are a thief. I mean, we are trying to enjoy the material nature only, no, Prabhuji, in some mode of goodness. That we are trying to
Actually,
enjoy.
Mataji, in all
Mm.
this, now most important, we should remember,
Mm.
people, even though they are doing philanthropic activities, they are doing
Mm.
Varnashrama and pleasing the Lord,
Mm.
it's still selfishness
Yes, Prabhuji.
because they are thinking about themselves.
Mm.
The main difference in Varnashrama pleasing the Lord and a devotee pleasing the Lord, here Varnashrama pleasing the Lord is if I please the Lord, I'll get benefited. But in
Mm.
a devotee pleasing the Lord, don't want anything in return. He's just pleasing the Lord because he want to make the Lord happy. So
It
there
is
is
180-degree
no
opposite, no, Prabhuji. What Varnashrama, like totally the enjoyer mood is changed. Here, whatever, I may be the topmost follower of Varnashrama and become a perfect Varnashrama follower, but here the mood of enjoying is myself. There, the mood of enjoyment is, I mean, there the enjoyer is Krishna, no, Prabhuji. So, how is that someone, like even in ISKCON, Prabhuji, we were discussing that we're trying to bring that Varnashrama within, I mean, that enjoyship of myself also within ours. This philosophy is totally 90-degree opposite, no, Prabhuji, to what other philosophy says.
that is what Mataji. See, so
Mm.
one basic understanding should be very clear for us.
Mm.
As long as I start thinking about myself, now I cannot do pure devotional service.
Mm.
Because now, if I am doing, na, it is what because I like I am doing. I am
Mm.
hearing because I like this class I hear. I take prasad because I like this prasadam. Why am I doing? Because I like it. All the time, na, the I is the center there. Anytime, any
Mm.
philanthropic activity is doing, I am is the center. When
Mm.
we start removing it and start putting Krishna there, I like or I don't like does not matter only for me. Like
Mm.
this is that's why Prabhupada gives this example of a child when he's small, mother is taking care. There is no I only for mother. Her I is the
Mm.
child only, at least for
Mm.
few months, because she just meditates on that. That is why it
Mm.
is pure. So same thing with Krishna. I don't have time to think about myself. What I
Mm.
will do for Krishna, what you like, you don't like. It does not matter only for me whether I like or I don't like. Because this is Krishna want it, I am ready to do everything. Make me dance, my Lord, make me dance. Whatever you want, Lord. So now he's so selfless in that way because he does not even consider about what he likes, what he does not like. Whether he'll become sick, whether he'll become rich, whether he'll become anything, what will happen to his family, no problem. Whatever Krishna wants. So
That's what,
that is that
Prabhuji, that Shada
simplicity, that
ceremony and
simplicity.
all.
Mataji?
Prabhuji, sometimes we try to put the Shada ceremony and all to here and here also, no, Prabhuji. As Loka Sangraha, we are doing that topic. I am not touching, but it is a must. When devotees also claim it is a must, then it is for my benefit only, no, Prabhuji. My then it is mixed only, no, Prabhuji. Even within our community, if we start focusing that much.
Ah, what happens now? They don't teach pure devotional principles. They don't know only. Many of them who are
Mm.
teaching, they themselves don't know. This is the
No,
problem.
Prabhuji, I'm asking about devotees. Within our community, sometimes this is happening, no,
Devotees,
Prabhuji.
devotees don't know, na. They also don't know the principles clearly.
Okay.
They themselves don't know clearly what they will teach others.
Mm, mm,
That is the
mm, mm,
problem. They themselves are not clear.
mm, mm.
So this
Okay, Prabhuji.
actually makes the problem. They are clear, then they can help. Problem is they themselves are they themselves teach mixed devotion principles. And
Prabhupada is
they
very clear in his purport, Prabhuji. Prabhupada, even this purport is very clearly explaining about the modes and what is a pure devotional service is above the modes. Everywhere, Prabhupada is establishing that only, no, Prabhuji.
but they don't read this not clearly like that. They don't read.
Okay.
The way we are reading, they are not reading. It's so clear. Prabhupada is so clearly explaining philanthropy. How
Mm.
many times? Two times he's condemning it. In this
Yes,
three
Prabhuji.
times he's condemning one purport
Yes,
only.
yes. Yes,
And
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada says all these impersonalists they'll fall down from Brahmajyoti and become philanthropists.
Mm,
That
mm,
also Prabhupada says. That means he's
mm,
making philanthropy such a low thing. But still
mm,
people are
mm,
attracted to it. So what can be done? Means they are not
mm,
reading clearly. They are not they are that's what now when you because it's an institute this problem always comes. You have to perform.
mm,
And when you
mm.
perform means you go for outside to bring something new. You want to have new thing in your
Ah,
class. New thing, new thing. The new things will means new kachata will come. It will not come pure thing.
yeah. So what I understood from your session, Balram Shakti Prabhu's session is not to just attract people in our preaching. We are trying to read other books, and since we are also very fragile faith, we ourselves will get trapped in that. That's what I understood, Prabhuji. So
Yeah.
better whether to attract them or not, just follow our own Acharya's book.
Then
Even
you
if he
will
explained
attract
this well,
pure people of that quality only, Mataji. If
yes,
you speak
Prabhuji.
only pure things, na number will be less, but the quality will be of
Yes,
that high
Prabhuji.
quality. Quality.
Yes, Prabhuji. Better to focus because we ourselves are not strong enough, no, Prabhuji. So when we go and read other things, there
No
is a
need,
possibility
Mataji.
of
Like
getting
even
attracted.
if we are whatever pure devotion principles you speak, na, you'll
Mm.
still get somebody to hear. Even if the number may be two or three,
Yes,
they are the
Prabhuji.
people
Yes.
who are really interested in pure devotion. And that is
Yes.
a protection for us. Because I
Mm.
speak, like
Mm.
I'm taking class initially, I was with number. And I said, no, no, I need somebody who's really interested in listening to me. Because
Correct.
this is what I will discuss. And that will
Mm.
help me to always remain pure in my topic and understanding. And
Mm.
then even these two, three people are the most important people for me. And the
Correct.
100 people who
Correct.
will come for other my if I give some other
Correct,
talk.
Prabhuji.
So this is what is a protection for us.
Correct, correct.
It's the
Initially,
same.
when I attended Alram Shakti Prabhu's session, Prabhuji, I used to think he's speaking so wonderfully. Why only 20, 15, 20 people are attending? I used to think, Prabhuji, but now I understood all those 20 people are gem. Like, they're all very nice people who really want to improve, like what we are also trying. So now only this point of what you are also trying to explain the same today, Prabhuji. Very nice. Like, it is eye-opening for all of us who are in preaching, Prabhuji, especially who wants to preach to public. We should focus on this, not on quality of people and not on quantity of people.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Prabhupada
Prabhuji.
also did. He preached
Mm.
quality only. And he got
Yes,
quality.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.